Hare Krishna, and welcome to this workshop style video on the Bhagavad-Gita chapter 1 verse 1. In this video we will try to apply sandhi to all the individual words on this worksheet, and in the first half of this video we will do a one pada per line version where the result will end up in the blue cells. And in the second half, we'll do a 2 pada per line version with the result ending up in the orange cells. But first, let's zoom in and so we can see a little better. So in this first installment here, we'll do the 1 pada per line version, and we'll start with step 1, which is to prepare this verse so that all compounds are pre-sandhied, we can say. So we are going to scan this verse for compounds, and here in the intro line there are none. But here in pada 1 we have 2 compounds. We can see this because of the hyphens here. We have hyphens. Alright, so let's do sandhi here, dharma-ksetre. And since we just have a vowel, ending vowel, and an initial k sound, there will be no change. So the same letters will remain, but the hyphen will go away because now we have applied sandhi. And the same thing here with kuru-ksetre, that the u is a vowel, so that there will be no change with the k in the beginning there. So that is applied sandhi there within the compounds themselves. Alright, let's scan for more compounds. Pada 2, there are no hyphens, there are no. And pada 3, none, and pada 4, none. Right, so the compounds are finished, and step 1 is done. Now let's take step 2, which is where we apply sandhi to all the other words, plus those compounds that are now also sandhied. So now we'll bring everything together on the blue line here. So let's start with dhritarastrah. And what does that become? Well, we have the visarga at the end there, and we have an initial u, and that means that the visarga has to go. Visarga has to drop. So let's drop the visarga. So that's done now, the intro line. What about pada 1? Well, we have a vowel and at the end and a consonant at the beginning, e and k. So what will happen? Nothing will happen. So there will be no change in terms of letters, and there will be a remaining space because the first word ends in a vowel, so we can have a space there. Alright, now take pada 2, samavetah, yuyutsavah. So we have a final visarga and an initial yup, and that will mean that the visarga once again has to go. It has to drop. So we produce this version here, that together with this one. and the visarga has to go. Samavetah, yuyutsavah. All right. Now take pada 3. Mamakah, pandavah, eva. All right. We have a final visarga and an initial p, and that will mean no change. So the visarga will not drop. And what about the rest here? Well, I think it's better from a pedagogical standpoint if we first do the sandhi of cha and eva. And this is a simple vowel sandhi here with a final a and an initial e, and that will produce a chai. So we have a chai, and then we borrow that chai, and then we take the sandhi between these two words here, and we have we can contract them a little here, like that. And what happens here? Well, a final visarga and initial ch will produce a palatal s. So sh, not a retroflex s, sh, but a palatal one. Sh. So what we have to do here, up here, then, is we have to find ourselves a lonely hello. We have to find a lonely sh with a virama at the end, so that there's no sha, but there's just a sh. And then we have to, but the problem and then is that if it ends with a consonant here, then we cannot have a space here, so we have to contract them. And when we do, we will produce a consonant, conjunct consonant here, sh plus I. So we have pandavah Jaya here together. All right, that's pada 3, and then we'll take pada 4, which is a little simpler because we have a final m here and an initial a, which will be no sandhi at all there. Kim and akurvata. But since the first word again ends with a consonant, the consonant there cannot be a space into the next word. Well, there could be if it was at the very end of the line, but akurvata comes here, so there is a following word after the consonant. So we have to contract it. So, but if we contract it, you see this ah here. We don't want that. It's just an initial ah for starting a word, and we don't like the virama here either. We want a simple ma. So therefore we just remove both of them like that. So we get kim akurvata, like that, spelled like this. And then we just, since akurvata ends with a vowel and we have a consonant at the beginning here, there will be no change in any fashion here to sanjaya. So there will be a space because we have a final vowel here. Right, so, and then we just add the dandas, the finalizers of the verse and the finalizer of the half verse, or the delimiter, or like that. And so that is done. And let's now zoom out to see what we have. So we have this worksheet almost done, and we are now just simply transferring the first intro to its own line because the sandhi is already done, and we'll do the rest of the padas here so that we can combine them nicely like that. And let's zoom in again so we can see a little better. That's all right. So this was already done because this is identical to the one we already did. And here we have dharma-ksetre, kuru-ksetre, which is going to be combined with samavetah, yuyutsavah. And this first pada here ends with a vowel, a, and this one starts with sa. So there will be absolutely no change when we add them together. And there will be a space in between them like that. So this will be, this is then the first half verse. That looks like that. And then the second half verse is produced by doing the sandhi here between mamakah, pandavah, Jaya, and akurvata sanjaya. And we see here that this one ends with a vowel, and this one starts with a consonant. So there will be no change. So we just copy up this one here and this one. Like that. We have take away the spaces. Right, and so here are the verses in the 2 pada per line version. Right, so we'll go up here and we'll zoom out. Like that, and that is the both of the additions, 1 pada per line to the left and 2 padas per line on the right. Thank you very much for watching, and Hare Krishna.